What's going on? It's your boy Connor Conflict back again, and today's video is going to start the free agency process of, I guess, the channel. So today we're going to start with, well, I guess we already started with re-signing. I feel like it's the first step of players that we need to retain. Now I'm going over the needs of the team. So before I get into this, make sure you like and subscribe to this video. And I want to preface it with, these rankings are based off players that it includes our pending free agents. So guys like Mike Gesicki, Emmanuel Agba, since they're not re-signed, that factors into the need. So I want to get that out of the way before you guys go, oh, well, we got Gesicki, why is this a need? And we got, you know what I'm saying? So prefacing with that, so without further ado, we're going to hop right in. So I have the Dolphins having 6 main needs. And number 6, I'm going to go 6-1. Although maybe I'd be better off. No, I'll go 6-1, whatever. And 6 you guys might be sounding off in the comments with what I got at number 6. But the position of need at 6 is running back. Now, some Dolphins fans have been clamoring for us to get a running back. I think us bringing in Mike McDaniel only reiterates what's been going on with the Dolphins' lack of spending at the position. I think this offensive scheme is very running back friendly. We might already have guys on the roster that might be the lead guy, but if not, you could find them cheap in free agency or late in the draft. So that's why I have running back at 6. Between Myles Gaskin, Savon Ahmed, Duke Johnson, that's a solid staple of backs. Nothing splendid, but once again, you have to, like, we Dolphins fans go up and down with, like, we all liked Myles Gaskin, and then this season happened, and we're like, nah, Gaskin sucks, and we all love Duke Johnson, but like I said, the run scheme wasn't ideal, whereas this one is very creative, very detail oriented, that will open up lanes. Like, running back, I don't want to say you're dime or it doesn't, but they kind of are. The thing that separates the top guys is literally, like, ability to make guys miss, breaking tackles, gaining those extra yards, because running lanes are running lanes. If there's no lane, it's hard to have success, regardless if you're Derrick Henry or if you're freaking Savon Ahmed, right? So I think in this scheme, a lot of running backs can have success. And I've mentioned in previous videos, like, Ahmed has literally spent a training camp in this offense. I wouldn't be surprised to see him emerge as a top guy. And I even failed to mention Phillip Lindsay, who's also a pending free agent, but if we bring him back for cheap, that could be a solid staple of backs that we could bring into the rotation. And honestly, I think it'd be solid. And not to mention late round draft picks. Look at Elijah Mitchell, the Matt Breidas, Jeff Wilsons of the world. All those kind of guys can have success in the scheme. So look at the back end of the draft and cheap free agent options for running back. That's my approach. Now, granted, you can go out and get a bell cow back, and it might make the running game even that much better. But the scheme is proven once after another that it doesn't need a premier talent at running back. So that's why I have it at 6. I know it's going to raise a lot of eyebrows. You guys might be clamoring at me, but it's what it is. So number 5. Goes back to pending free agents. I have 5 as tight end. Between Durham Smythe and Mike Gesicki set to hit free agency. It's kind of a whole. We have Hunter Long, who's young, very talented. I think Hunter Long's gotten too much shit, but he's got potential, especially with Fluff. I'm blanking on, one second. I can't look this stupid right now. I'm blanking on our tight ends coach that we just hired. Embry. Is it John Embry? Fluff. John Embry. But our new tight ends, yeah, John Embry. Our new tight ends coach is very good. He helped develop Kittle. Now, once again, players are players. They're good. But he helped develop Kittle. And everyone wants to compare Gesicki to Kittle. They're nowhere near the same. Hunter Long is closer to Kittle, but once again, not close. But Hunter Long is a dynamic player in terms of the fact that he's a good blocker and he's got ability to run routes. Tight end's a hard position to transition into, so that explains a lot of why he was inactive. So I think he's going to take a step this year. whether that's with Durham Smythe and Mike Gesicki still on the roster or not. I don't see, as much as we all love Durham Smythe, I love him, Mike Gesicki loves him, I don't think he's going to come back just because we have Hunter Long in the wings. Mike Gesicki is a guy I hope we franchise tag, but even then, you can label him a tight end all you want, but he pretty much is a slot receiver. Nonetheless, I have tight end in the case that we don't bring those guys back. But even, I might have had him too high up in need. I think it's probably 6. I do believe in Hunter Long, whether you guys do or don't. I think, especially with this new coaching staff, I think he's actually really going to develop into a good player. 4, I have middle linebacker. So we have Jerome Baker, who, depending on how he might be utilized, can play inside, outside, but primarily in this defense has played inside. Towards the back half of the season, he started playing on the outside a little bit, and he showed some really good signs. But middle linebacker is a need regardless, because Jerome Baker is a guy who plays every single snap. But we need someone else alongside of him to be able to carry the workload. We had a Landon Roberts who's a thumper in the run game, and I hope we re-sign him specifically for that. But whenever he's asked to do anything outside of that, it is pretty glaring from time to time. He had that pick 6 against the Raiders, but I mean, you saw when I think Baker got hurt for a game or two, and you saw Landon getting exposed in pass coverage. I mean, that's just not his style, man. He's an early down linebacker, but we need someone who's an every down backer who can kind of be a bigger version of Jerome Baker. Whether we find that in the draft or free agency, there's actually a really good free agent market. Obviously, some of those guys might get re-signed, guys like Devondre Campbell and Alexander Johnson, but also this linebacker core in the draft is stacked between, I don't think they'll follow the Dolphins, but Nakobe Dean, who's a little smaller, so I don't know if he necessarily fits, but Devin Lloyd, there's 2 Bama guys, there's another Georgia guy. It's a good linebacker draft class as well. We need another guy who can kind of do a little bit of everything, a well-rounded guy, because right now our second linebacker next to Baker when we play nickel is between like Roberts and Duke. Like we need kind of mesh them in between, someone who's good enough to do both. So it's a big need. I think it'll help our defense immensely. So that's why I have that there. Number 3, as wide receiver, we have Jalen Waddle, who's a stud. Then it's a lot of question marks. You have Devontae Parker, who, when healthy, is good, but even then, he's really just has been. Now, maybe like McDaniel utilizes him differently, but he's really just been a jump ball guy. Contested catch over the middle. Like he makes tough catches from time to time, but it's not necessarily like what you want the receiver to solely be. You want someone who can do everything, but his ability to make those 50-50 balls is very valuable. He's very good at it, but I just don't know if that's what you want to purely rely on. But then we have Lynn Bowden coming back from injury. We should see how he comes back. That's another guy that Mike McDaniel might be able to utilize his skill sets to the max. He's very shifty, very good after the catch. So we all hear how much Mike McDaniel values that. So potentially someone that could step up. But especially in this new offense, we're going to be looking for run blocking guys who can get open. I think it starts with retaining Matt Collins. He's a stud. Cut Allen Hurns with all due respect. And then go out and get someone between free agency and the draft. There's plenty of talent, both sides. This free agency class is a lot of injured guys. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be touching Devontae Adams if he even leaves Green Bay. He's going to be too expensive, and I doubt he will even want to play here. With all due respect, but there's some like cheaper options on the second wave of free agency that we can really go after. I'm gonna go over that in the free agency episodes. I don't know how I'm gonna break that down, but there's a plan in place eventually. But receivers in need. Besides Jalen Waddle, it was just a whole lot of. It wasn't good. Jalen Waddle's a superstar, but we need someone to help complement him. Someone help take advantage of when Jalen Waddle is getting funneled and doubled. We need someone else who can create separation and get open. Because a lot of the times they aren't getting open quick enough, besides from Waddle. Like, that's why every third down, it was Waddle, 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 Waddle. Like, that's good, but when a team is able to execute and take them away, you got to be able to rely on someone else to get open. And we didn't have that, really. So we need someone else to complement Waddle. And, I mean, that even could be trade. I forgot to mention that. Guys like Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper. Not saying that's who we should go after, but those are definitely options that we can explore. So that's why I have that as the third need. Second need is edge. With Emmanuel Ogbah set to become a free agent, if he hits the open market and we lose him, I mean, who do we have? Like, no one. He's such a big role in this defense. Between his pass rush ability, his ability to play inside outside, and he's a solid run defender. He's just sturdy. Wasn't crazy. He wasn't putting up 20 sacks, but he was reliable, down in, down out. And if we lose him, I feel like it's gonna be very noticeable. So if we lose him, we got to be able to replace him with another high-level guy. Maybe that be the draft. The only guy I would be feel comfortable like 1-for-1 swapping him with, and even then you don't know because you're projecting draft guys. But Jermaine Johnson, I feel like could fill that role a little bit. Out of Florida State, he's a stud. But even then, like I said, you're projecting his skill sets translating. So I hope we keep Ogbah. I feel like that should be our number one priority. Along with, I think we should franchise tag Mike Gesicki. But I think keep Ogbah. If not, edge is a huge need because you have Jalen Phillips on one side, but Jalen Phillips is still young. He's still developing. You need someone else up there. So that's why I have edge as number 2 need. And then for number 1, I'm sure we all can assume it's literally the entire offensive line besides one position. The only offensive starter I'm comfortable saying for next year is Rob Hunt. From every other position, it's a question mark. Now, I'm sure you guys all heard the interview where Mike McDaniel basically says, our system makes offensive linemen better. He understands the O-line's a problem, but over time, it's been shown that this system has helped people. Plus, we've got improved coaching between offensive line coach Matt Applebaum and OC, who's got an O-line background in Frank Smith. I think we will finally see the development we were expecting. Now, that's not to say that we're going to roll out the same guys. We absolutely should not. But when I say I think our only returning starter should be Rob Hunt, I think we will see 1 or 2 more guys just based off the ability to develop them, whether it's Liam Eichenberg and why am I blanking on Michael Dieter? Liam Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, Michael Dieter. I think 2 of those 3 guys between Dieter, Eichenberg, and Jackson will probably be starters. But I don't even know where. I mean, Dieter can play anywhere from center to tackle. Granted, he's not going to play tackle, but center and guard where I would expect them. And then Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg, I can see playing left tackle, left guard, right tackle. Like, there's a lot of different things that could happen. And I'm comfortable in at least 1 to 2 of those guys returning. Absolutely not all 3. We can't base our free agency and draft on us banking on that development because we did that before and we saw how that happened. This is the year to figure out what you got in Tua. You got to surround him with proper talent. So, especially in the trenches because it was horrible. So, I think you got to go out and sign at least 1 to 2 names. You got to get 2 starters between draft and free agency, no doubt. 2 starters, draft and free agency. You could argue with 3rd and 4th, but I would be okay banking on development of 1 to 2 guys. So if you roll out, like I said, 2 of those 3 guys, I'd be okay. But you got to go get a starting tackle and probably you could argue 2 starting tackles or a starting tackle and starting interior guy between draft and free agency, and I would be okay with that. Now, I would be fine with us getting 4 as well. So 2 to 4 range, but I would say 2 is ideal. 2 to 3. 3 is ideal. Me in the middle. Fluff it. So that's who I have as a top needs for the Dolphins. You could mix punter in that mix as well. I might have been missing something. I kind of just quickly came up with this idea. I had work and schoolwork to get over with, so I wasn't able to put my full intent on digging through the roster, but this is just my overall what I know. I could have been a little more dissecting, but I wasn't. But comment down below if I missed anything or if you agreed or disagreed. I'd like to hear all the feedback. I appreciate you guys for watching more than you realize. And until next time, I'll see y'all.